gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Canal Algérie's Nightly News. I'm your host, Laetitia Sedqawi, and here are the headlines. As instructed by the President of the Republic, a preliminary in-depth investigation is launched to determine the circumstances of the incident of the youth traveling illegally via an aircraft belonging to the Algerian Airlines company. The three-day official visit of the Sierra Leonean president winds up with important decisions to boost both countries' positions in defending Africa and oppressed peoples within the UN Security Council. The President of the Republic decides to halve the travel fees for 2,000 fans of the national football team to Côte d'Ivoire, and we compiled the reactions of the squad supporters who highly welcomed the decision. Several UN organizations sound the alarm bell of a severe famine looming over Palestine, with atrocious strike always underway in the besieged territories. Welcome back. We begin with tonight's major story, where pursuant to the order of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Director General of Domestic Security opened a preliminary in-depth investigation into the incident of the infiltration of the Yan Rahmani Mahdi with illegal immigration through an Air Algérie aircraft in Iran International Airport at 8:05 a.m. on the 28th of December 2023 in its flight to Orly Airport, where he was caught. The same investigations conducted by the General Directorate of Domestic Security on the scene revealed the direct responsibility of 7 of the employees of the General Directorate of National Security, Border Police, as well as the police chief heading the 2nd Division of Border Police in Iran Airport and the Brigadier General in charge of airport security. The investigations also revealed the direct responsibility of an Air Algérie mechanic, extending thus responsibilities administratively to the Technical Director of Air Algérie Company and the head of Iran Airport and the Regional Director of the National Organization of Airports Management in Iran. Special administrative procedures will then be followed involving regional and central officials of the General Directorate of National Security. The visit of the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone crowned with a joint statement in which both countries displayed determination to nourish the historical relations of friendship and cooperation between the two countries, as now embassies of both countries will open. A convergence in views between the two presidents on a set of different issues was also evident. Minsa Kabash followed the visit from the start and has this comprehensive roundup for us.
Algeria and Sierra Leone are both committed to reinforce their bilateral cooperation in several domains and profound consultations on regional and international issues of common interest. A commitment illustrated through the official visit of the Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio to Algeria, alongside the meetings he held with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. The visit coincides with the beginning of the mandate of both countries as non-permanent members at the UN Security Council for the period of 2024-2025. Both countries underlined that during their mandate, they will make the African countries' voice heard and meet the aspirations of their peoples so as to unify the African action within the Security Council. They will also work in coordination with the African Union to settle the conflicts and establish peace and justice in the region. The visit allowed the two presidents to exchange views regarding several regional and international issues of common interest, namely the latest developments unfolding in the African continent and the Sahel region. The two sides showcased their positions around several files, notably the Palestinian cause and the genocide perpetrated against the Palestinian people. The same unwavering stand concerning the issue of Western Sahara, the last colony in Africa, as it must be settled in accordance with the international charters and the UN's resolutions. They also affirmed their full support to the efforts deployed by the UN Secretary General and his personal envoy, aiming at reaching a permanent political settlement to this long-standing conflict. Algeria and Sierra Leone also called on the international community, notably the Security Council, to assume its historic, legal and moral responsibilities regarding the Palestinian people. Being well aware of the world changes, the two heads of state agreed on developing economic partnerships, exchange expertise, boosting the volume of trade exchange, and preparing for opening embassies in both countries.
The Sierra Leonean president, accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, visited Algiers Mosque, where he was received by the rector of Algiers Mosque, Ma'moun al-Qasmi al-Hasni. The president of Sierra Leone toured the different pavilions and listened to a presentation on the religious architectural engineering of this infrastructure that carries a message with the religious, social, and civilizational dimensions. And with that, the three-day visit of the president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, came to an end. He was seen off at the airport by the Premier Nadir al-Arbabi, as well as the Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf. In different developments, a communique of the FAF, or Algerian Football Federation, indicated that the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, decided to take in charge of 50% of the cost of transport of 2,000 vaccinated supporters of the national team to Côte d'Ivoire. FAF affirmed that in the framework of the support to our national football team, which will take part in the 2023 African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire, the head of state gave directives to cover 50% of the travel fees to Côte d'Ivoire of 2,000 fans through the touring public company. The head of the Algerian Football Federation, Walid Sadi, expressed in the same communique his gratitude and profound recognition to the President of the Republic for this commendable initiative, which reflects his firm and lasting support to the national football team and its supporters. A commendable initiative indeed, as fans of the Algerian football team of all ages and backgrounds highly appreciated the decision, believing that it shall boost the morale of the national squad and constitute a fresh impetus to their performance during this African tournament.
وش نقول لك ان شاء الله نكون انا من الاولين اللي نروحوا 1 2 3 فيفا الجيري.
يعني المبادره اللي تاع الرئيس يعني مبادره يعني راح تشجع يعني المنتخب الوطني وما يخفالكش بلي الانصاريه ما هما راك 12 في الفريق وهذه المبادره يعني اللي نتمنوها ونشجعوها يعني وهي بادره خير يعني من قبل رئيس الجمهوريه.
In the same context, the Algerian squad is in full preparation for this major continental sporting event. Our national foot team held their third consecutive training session in Lumé Stadium, marked by good ambience among the group. They will also have two friendly games against Togo and Burundi, respectively, on the 5th and the 9th of the current month. Worth mentioning that FAF organized a mixed zone for media personnel and the players who asserted their readiness for the two friendlies and the upcoming continental challenge, reiterating their clear goal, hoist the national flag during this competition due to kick off on January the 13th, and why not repeat 2019 scenario? Another major achievement for the Algerian diplomatic apparatus. Algeria is officially a non-permanent member at the UN Security Council, an opportunity to reiterate its foreign policy's values in line with the instructions of the head of state. The permanent representative of Algeria to the United Nations, Ammar bin Jama, stated that the latest developments in the Red Sea should be analyzed from a comprehensive continental perspective, as the zone is facing a critical situation and its stability is threatened while the conflict can rise at any moment, calling for self-constraint and refrain from escalation. Let's have a listen to the statement of Algeria's ambassador Ammar bin Jama, the permanent representative to the UN.
This development carry indeed significant implication for maritime and economic security in the region and beyond. We recognize the Red Sea as a critical route for global trade, responsible for around 15% of the world maritime traffic. And safe maritime navigation in the Red Sea is of paramount importance for the whole world. Therefore, our opinion is that the recent development in the Red Sea should be analyzed within a broader regional context.
Good news for cars lovers. The first customers of the Chinese brand Chery received their keys in Iran province. It is worth mentioning that 15,000 clients are concerned with this eagerly awaited operation. The national road number 6 linking Borj Mukhtar to Regan in the north of Timyaoun in the south works are progressing well, and the daily ordeal for lorry drivers and road users is to shortly be over. The progress rate and other details within Eskili.
Located in the extreme south of the country, the province of Borj Mukhtar has adopted a strategy to develop key sectors such as health, education and trade. This strategy is essentially based on the construction of the national road number 6, which will facilitate access to the province.
This is the main road for opening up Borj Mukhtar and boosting its local development by supporting African countries.
To get to Borj Mukhtar, you have to cover 100 kilometers amidst the desert. It's one of Algeria's most inaccessible provinces.
The time we spent on the road depends on several factors. It can take 2, 3 or even 5 days to reach your destination, or 1 week to cover the same distance.
The construction of a 750 kilometers road linking Borj Mukhtar to Regan in the north and Timyaoun in the south will end the ordeal of many road users.
We've reached the final stages of this very important section of the project. With a length of 140 kilometers, the work progress rate of this first section has reached a 70%. The second section linking the province of Adrar extends over 135 kilometers, and the third section linking Borj Mukhtar, Timyaoun and Mali is 150 kilometers long.
This will make it easier to travel to and from Borj Mukhtar and bring a fresh impetus to the province.
To the Middle East, where heavy Zionist shelling continues targeting defenseless Palestinian civilians. The casualties reach a staggering figure of over 22,000 martyrs. International bodies are sounding the alarm as the situation is becoming even more critical. Gaza Strip is turning into a breeding land for diseases. Famine is looming over the territory, and journalist casualties are on the rise. From Gaza, our correspondent Wissam Abu Zaid has this report for us, commented by Ines Killu.
Over the last 3 days, the Zionist entity has committed 6 massacres after forcing civilians to evacuate their homes, supposedly to be safe areas, in Rafah, in the south of the Gaza Strip, before bombing them. Results of these bombings, 30 martyrs. According to Nasser Abu Bakr, head of Palestinian Journalists Corporation, Gaza is experiencing the worst media disaster in history, with more than 100 journalists falling as martyrs, representing 8.5% of journalists. The union is preparing a complaint to the International Criminal Court, considering the situation to be a war crime against humanity and against media. Despite the continuous attacks on journalists, public television correspondent Wissam Abu Zaid continues his mission, defying all hazards, to report in real time on the crimes committed against the population of Gaza, but also in the occupied territories, particularly in the occupied West Bank, where the Zionist entity is continuing its arbitrary arrests. The number of Palestinians detained in the occupied West Bank in the presence of the Zionist entity since October 7th has risen to 5,630 after 30 people were arrested in various regions, such as Jenin.
Et on peut dire depuis le 7 octobre, ça commence à augmenter les raids, les attaques contre le camp de réfugiés de Jenin.
We are facing a very difficult situation. Since October 7th, the attacks against the refugee camp of Jenin doubled, and in Gaza Strip as well, and even the West Bank. The occupier is trying to erase the Palestinian identity.
En même temps, Alors cet occupant essayer de détruire ou faire disparaître la dignité palestinienne ou la volonté palestinienne.
A situation that is likely to get even worse, according to the spokesman of the Palestinian presidency, Nabil Abu Rudaina, who stressed that the Zionist occupying forces' attacks on the Palestinians will not bring peace and will certainly lead to an uncontrollable situation in the region. For his part, the General Commissioner of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency of Palestinian Refugees is worried by the situation in the Gaza Strip since it is heading towards famine and has called for an immediate ceasefire. In the face of these Zionist bombardments, the battered population is hoping that the humanitarian aid will arrive in the besieged Palestinian territory.
Diane, thank you to our technicians and journalists, and thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend.